What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another Tottenham update. We're going to look at the last 24 hours of Tottenham news, starting off revolving Emerson Royal. Damasio says that Emerson is one of AC Milan's top targets today. They held an exploratory meeting with his agents as a first step. We did see on social media Emerson's agent arriving in Milan yesterday. Luca Bendoni just more or less relays the same information, saying that AC Milan did hold a meeting with Emerson Royal's agent Stefano Castagna to explore conditions of a potential move to Tottenham for the right back, but nothing advanced so far. So positive news, I guess.
Yeah, but I think they are, or if they're not yet appointed, Fonseca. So whether that managerial appointment affects his transfer, I guess, remains to be seen. But look, we all know agents being out in Milan doesn't mean a deal is done. I think we've been there and done that. Who was it when we met with Skriniar's agent?
Yeah, it was
Steve
Hitchen, yeah.
And nothing ever materialised. So we know there's a lot more to be done after that stage. But look, the fact that they're exploring the option means maybe it's one of those deals that they're convinced by, regardless of the manager. Maybe it's a club signing. I don't really look. I obviously not party to that kind of information, but obviously if we can get him out the door for a good fee to AC Milan, it'll be a good move for him. We can get a good fee, and let's hope that happens.
Yeah, so at least the wheels are in motion, let's just put it that way. Joe Rodon, Luke Steele of the Mail, says that Premier League clubs are monitoring the situation of Tottenham in terms of Joe Rodon following an impressive loan spell at Leeds United. We know that Leeds did fall at the last hurdle in terms of qualifying for the Premier League or promotion to the Premier League in the playoff final against Southampton. And, regardless of Joe Rodon, actually, there's probably quite a few players at Leeds that will be heading to the Premier League this summer. But in terms of Joe Rodon, does it surprise you that maybe Premier League clubs are sniffing around? Doesn't really surprise me.
Not at all. He's had a great season. There was talk that Leeds would sign him permanently if they did get promoted. There's a lot of talk about him having a lot of interest, regardless of whether Leeds got promoted, that other Premier League teams would be in for him. So now that Leeds obviously didn't get the job done, whether they're going to be a bit more hamstrung when it comes to the money would be available to sign him permanently, because I think Spurs are going to be demanding, between 15 and 20 million potentially, I reckon, for him because of the season he's had. So I think definitely Premier League teams. I'm not sure about a top 10 Premier League team, but I definitely think Premier League, maybe like a Palace or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if, they are top 10, I guess, but I wouldn't be surprised if a team like that go for Joe Rodon, or maybe a Wolves or something like that. But any of the three promoted teams, I think, will all be interested in him.
If we can kind of persuade him to move to Leeds this summer, surely there's a deal to be done there with the likes of Archie Gray there, Somerville there, other players that we've been linked with, Wilfred Gnonto as well. Surely there's a deal that could be done there.
It depends how interested we are. I mean, I know Archie Gray is a real star in the making. He's one that's apparently, I'm just reading Bayern Munich apparently in for him now. So we'll see. Look, he's one I'd be very interested in. In terms of Somerville and Gnonto, I like them both. But I don't know how interested Tottenham are in them. We'll see.
Yeah. Let's talk about Callum Hudson-Odoi now. Paul O'Keefe says that Forest winger Callum Hudson-Odoi was offered to Tottenham. However, technical director Johan Lange was thought to be against the idea. Me and Lange think the same. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think Hudson-Odoi is a good player. But again, when it comes to what does the data say? If we're looking at a data-led approach in terms of what Hudson-Odoi offers, I don't think he offers the right things in terms of what we want in a winger. I think he's really come on leaps and bounds this season. I think he's showing that he's capable of fulfilling his potential. But he's quite a selfish player, I feel. I feel like he, when he gets the ball, he always looks to shoot. He always looks to work an angle for himself rather than bring other players into play, which is why he's getting a lot more goals than he gets assists. And I think I was watching a few of his highlights yesterday, and he scored some brilliant goals. Don't get me wrong, he's got an absolute rocket of a right foot. But there was a few occasions where he goes for the shot where definitely a pass was the better option. And because he's got such a good shot, he kind of gets away with it. But I don't think in our system that's going to be tolerated as much. And I think he's going to need to be a bit more of a creative winger and someone who gets to the byline a bit more and looks to create chances for the strikers and the back post winger as well. So I don't think he's the right guy for us, to be honest.
Yeah, completely agree. Next up, let's talk about Georgiy Sudakov again. Ben Jacobs says that Shakhtar ideally want to sell Sudakov after Euro 2024, giving them time to analyse offers. They hope the tournament will also raise Sudakov's value further. It's understood that he is likely, they are likely to ask for north of 70 million euros, which is mad to me. 70 million euros for Georgiy Sudakov.
Depends how good he is. I can't really say if he's worth that much, but just knowing that his position is a central midfielder, it's not a position we're desperate for. It's a position which we know that the likes of Gallagher could be available, Bergvall coming through as well. We have options in that position, so I don't see the need to splash 70 million on a young player like Sudakov. As much as, look, maybe he's that good that he's worth it, and we just need to get him whatever the price. But I just feel like, is it really that necessary? I mean, it's a massive
risk. It's a massive risk because when you look at the Mikhailo Mudryk signing, like everyone at that stage was saying, this guy is the next best thing. This guy is brilliant, smashing out in the Champions League, getting good numbers in the Ukrainian league as well, and he's been such a massive flop for such a massive outlay as well. And you're always going to have that apprehension as well, spending that kind of money on someone that's not tested outside of the Ukrainian league.
Yeah, I just find it hard to believe Tottenham are going to sanction a move of that size for him, considering the need for it. So, and as well, if you're going to put a risk on it, you might as well risk it on Bergvall rather than risk 70 million on Sudakov.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's talk about Conor Gallagher then. Gary Jacobs says that Gallagher is expected to be the subject of an offer from Tottenham Hotspur, with Chelsea expected to sell a number of players before June the 30th to comply with the financial rules. However, Fabrizio Romano did say in a podcast saying that Enzo Maresca, who's going to be the new manager of Chelsea, just given the here we go, saying is a very big fan of Conor Gallagher and has him in his plans. Sounds a bit like Maurizio Pochettino.
I'd say, I think Poch had him in his plans as well. Whether that's going to be taken out of his hands is another thing, because I think that was, look, I'm obviously speculating, but I do think that Pochettino was potentially frustrated, and maybe that was one of the reasons why he did decide to leave, because of Chelsea's plans to sell players he didn't want to sell. And I think Gallagher is definitely up there because Chelsea need the money to comply with the PSR rules, and we know Gallagher for 45 to 50 million is definitely an option to get a pure profit. So as much as Maresca want him, we'll have to wait and see whether it's his decision. But yeah, obviously Tottenham will be interested for sure. Of course we will, if there's an offer to be done, a deal to be done. But I don't think it's a case of whether Maresca wants him or not, unless that's one of the conditions of him signing, is that they keep Gallagher. Then maybe.
Then what was the point of getting rid of Pochettino? The whole thing is nuts, isn't it? Last bit of transfer news we've got news regarding Dani Olmo. Sport say that Barcelona do consider Tottenham as rivals in their attempt to sign Dani Olmo. The midfielder is happy at RB Leipzig and will only consider a transfer for a project he deems exciting. And this is a top caliber player. Does have his injury problems that has shown over the years, but what a player.
Yeah, he's brilliant, but I feel like he's the kind of player we'd only get if, like, we'll say him or Gibbs White kind of thing. I think him and Gibbs White are actually quite similar players, and I do wonder which one would be cheaper in this market. I think probably, depending on how desperate Forest are to sell, I'd assume Gibbs White would be a bit cheaper if they're looking to get rid of him for 45 million. I think Olmo would be at least 55, 60, I'd assume. And obviously he's going to have he's going to be at the Euros for Spain. If he has a good Euros as well, that adds a bit of money onto his price tag. So I think we'll have to wait and see whether Tottenham actually are really serious on Gibbs White before we act on Olmo.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's levels between the two players when you look at Gibbs White and Dani Olmo. I like Gibbs White. I think he is a very good player, but I think Dani Olmo is not in the top category, but very close to the top category of players from around Europe. He's shown it time and time again. I've been brilliant at Leipzig, was brilliant at Zagreb before that, and he shows it consistently for Croatia whenever an international tournament comes around as well. So I think this guy is of the top caliber, and if we can get him, we'd be a very lucky team. Let's talk about players that are impressing now. We're going to start off with Mikey Moore, who's on the back of 2 appearances for the first team at 16 years of age, is absolutely smashing it for England under-17s at the Euros so far. Scored 2 goals against France, 1 goal against Portugal, 1 goal against Spain, and he currently leads the goal-scoring charts in the tournament. Some unbelievable goals is in there as well. He is literally absolutely smashing it out. We've got another player, Callum Hudson-Odoi, as well, who's been starting every game for England at the Euros, 1 assist to his name. But let's go and have a look at the goals that Mikey Moore has been scoring. Such a variety of goals in there as well. If you look at this one, this is the goal for his first goal against France. Was a lovely cross with a header at the back post. So
clinical. Look at that.
You can get headers as well. This is... the next goal, look at this. Shades of Michael Owen in France 98. Nutmeg in there.
Oh,
and then bang, straight in the far corner. Look at this in a closer angle. I thought this was so similar to Michael Owen's goal against Argentina in France 98. If you scroll up to the next one, this is his goal against Portugal. It was a 4-1 loss, but he was the one on the score sheet. And the poacher's effort at the back post.
Nice clinical finish into the near post. No mistake.
And the next one was against Spain last night. This was the best of the lot, with an absolute rocket into the far corner.
This guy is special.
He really is special. He really is. And if you scroll up one more, he's even got a bit of shithousery to his name as well. This was when the Spanish player got sent off last night and he was giving it to him.
Was he telling him to get off, or was he making a wanker sign at him?
I don't know. I couldn't tell. But I thought it was quite funny.
Go on, Mikey, not taking any shit. Yeah, I think you can see his teammates like, all right. You don't want to get yourself sent off.
So that was Mikey Moore. I mean, he's really having a good time of it of late, isn't he?
Seems to be an all-rounder, doesn't he? He can take people on. He can shoot from outside the box. He get those poachers finishes. I know it's only the under-17s, but obviously we've seen enough of him to give him some appearances in the first team. So clearly there's a lot thought of him. And obviously you've got to remember when we signed him, I remember like Romano was doing updates. We signed him at 15. And I remember I was wondering why is there so much fanfare about a 15-year-old signing for Spurs, but now I can see why, because he's absolute quality.
Yeah, let's hope he does live up to the reputation. What do you think the plan is next season for Mikey Moore? Because he's been drafted into the first team the last 2 games of the season, got 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. What do you think is the plan, to keep him in the first team, do you reckon, or to loan him out, to put him in the under-21s? I mean,
it's difficult to say because he seems to have, he hasn't played for under-21s.
Seems to be bursting on the scene though, doesn't he?
Going past it. I mean, depends. Do we really think, is he ready like Wayne Rooney was ready for first team football? That's the judgment we've got to make. It's a very careful judgment. And the problem is we've had like Scarlett and Parrott. And last few seasons, I know Parrott's actually done quite well this year, which we'll go up into, but the loan deals that they've had haven't helped them develop as much. And I think we've been maybe a bit disappointed of how the loan deals have affected them. So I don't know whether we'll think, with Mikey Moore, is it worth just keeping around us, or do we send him on loan, or do we put him to under-21s? There's a big decision. I don't think we've made a decision yet. I don't think there's a plan there. I think we're going to take more of a look at him in like pre-season, then we'll make a decision.
Be interesting if they maybe keep him around till January and use him in the Europa League group stages sparingly. Maybe if we keep him around. I mean, Lily White Rose was saying on Twitter the other day that he thinks that if he gets a chance next season, he'll take it and he'll be part of the first team fully next season.
At 16, I mean.
Well, he'll be 17, I think, next season.
Well, okay, so 17 next season. You just got to be very careful with players that age, because
you don't want them to burn out.
Yeah, it's just, you got to be careful that you don't want to kill their confidence. You don't want to put them in too early, and all of a sudden, they don't do it, and then fans start getting on their back, and all of a sudden their confidence starts to drain. So you just got to be careful. But if he's ready, no reason why not. But the thing is, all we've seen is him absolutely kill it in the youth level. We have to see
of course,
level above.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, it does
seem too easy for him now.
It must be amazing for his confidence at the age of 16 to be in and around the first team and even getting on the pitch as well, because you're seeing players in the under-21s who's smashing under-21 level and they can't even get on the pitch for the first team. Look at Jamie Donnelly, how well he's done this season. Yeah, he's been part of the first team a bit, but I think Mikey Moore's probably had more minutes than him.
Well, look at Lange, hasn't had a minute. He's got 32 goals this season or something like that.
Yeah, 23, I think, yeah.
32 in all competitions, apparently.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. Let's talk about Troy Parrott now. He scored a hat-trick for Excelsior in semi-finals of their relegation playoffs. He's had a really good season, Troy Parrott. Probably his best loan spell to date. I think, what is it, 13 goals and... Let me just get the stats up. Yeah, 13 goals and 4 assists in 27 games for Excelsior out in Holland.
17 goal contributions.
Which is really impressive. So let's go and take a look at the hat-trick that he did score in the semi-final.
Considering as well, he hasn't... he's been off the bench quite a bit as well.
Yeah, definitely in the start of the season or the first half of the season. I think he started to make his way into the first team. But let's go and have a look at these goals that he scored. Some really nice goals there.
Yeah. And also Excelsior are quite, they're obviously a team battling. Oh, that's a nice finish, isn't it? Look at that.
Single-handed. This was a hat-trick inside half an hour, by the way, for Troy Parrott.
Great finish. Little dink over the keeper as well. Beautiful. So confident.
Yeah, look at this next one. Was also a nice finish, I believe.
Oh,
another dink over the keeper. This one even better.
Scoop. Messi-esque. Messi-esque scoop.
And the next one.
Did he score he scored a penalty, I think.
It's not there, the next one.
No, well, I think the other one was a penalty.
The other one was a penalty. But in terms of Troy Parrott and the plans for him next season, I mean, do you think that he gets a look in the first team? Are we looking to recoup some funds on him?
It's interesting because he was speaking to the media the other day and he was asked about whether he wants to return to Tottenham next season. He said that's always been the plan. That's always what I've wanted to do. So that's what I'm guessing that's what he will do next season. So obviously from his point of view, he's had a great loan spell in a. I know it's not a big league, but obviously
still Eredivisie.
Still Eredivisie. It's a Dutch league. It's a main European league, and it's in the top division of it. And he's been playing for a side that's been battling relegation, and so they're one of the poorer sides in the league. And he's actually been contributing, and he's actually been a main player, and I think he'll feel like on the back of that he should be at least be given a chance and have a look and be taken a look at. And I think from Spurs' point of view, we still got a young striker here. He's 22. There was a lot of made of him when he was in the youth level. A lot of excitement about him. His loan spells didn't quite work out. Although there were some points when he was in the Championship where, people were happy about him, but he never really got the regular goals. But he's now had a bit of a breakout season out in Holland. Definitely, it's worth just at least taking another look at him in pre-season, because if you've got a striker there, we already know firsthand. Just because a striker hasn't done so well on loan spells previously doesn't mean they're not good enough.
Like Harry Kane.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We've had first-hand experience that you shouldn't judge players too early, because he only broke in at 21, started getting first-team experience. I know Parrott's a year older than that, but I think he's had a good season in the Eredivisie. It's not easy to do that, and it's worth taking another look to see if there's any potential we could use him, because it could save us a lot of money if he is good enough. Yeah,
I do feel like this is this summer's kind of his last chance to revive his move at Spurs, because I don't think he's getting another loan move and then coming back to Spurs at the age of 23. So I think Ange takes a look at him in pre-season. If Ange doesn't like what he sees, then I think we look to sell him on, and probably his most sellable season this summer, in terms of getting a bit of money for him.
Yeah, of course. He's first time he's scored in the top league consistently. So yeah, definitely.
Let's move on and let's finish talking about Bergvall. Unbelievable form he's showing. Scored 2 goals on the weekend for Djurgårdens, and he's going from strength to strength. He really is. I was saying when all these clips started coming out from him in the beginning of the season, he was playing against kind of second tier and third tier Swedish teams in the cup, and it looked like way too easy for him. Well, now he's making the league look a bit too easy for him as well. Just take a look at this goal from Bergvall over the weekend. Special goal.
And there is so much excitement about him at the moment. When does the Swedish league end? It must be. Oh my word!
That technique,
volley from 25
You can't teach
yards.
that technique. That technique is pure genius.
That is world class ability. Look at that! Fires it into the bottom corner. It's an unbelievable strike. And I remember I saw someone say it was a Swedish fan. Was on social media, and he said Tottenham are very lucky they got him when they did, because if they would have gone for him at this point, it would have been a lot more money probably and a lot more competition for him. Although obviously we did battle Barcelona for him, but So apparently he's just been in mad form. Every game he's man of the match. He's also been playing in different positions. Sometimes
This game he was
keeper,
playing in the 6.
sometimes in the 6, sometimes a bit further forward. So he's really ripping it up over there in Sweden at 18 years of age. So exciting about his future, and I can't wait to see him in pre-season because I think there's a lot of talk about him definitely being around the first team next season. So I guess we'll see in pre-season how much game time he gets.
Yeah, he joins up with he moves to Spurs officially on July the 1st, which is well before, I believe, the Swedish league finishes.
All the Euros are still going on, aren't they?
Yeah, but I think the Swedish league carries on while the Euros is going on. But he's played 11 games this season, so it's still the start of the season in Sweden. 3 goals, 2 assists, a 5-goal contribution so far in 11 games in the Swedish league.
Mad.
In the domestic cups, he's played 6 games and has got 3 goals. The guy is just ripping it up, and I just can't wait to see him in pre-season. We get to take a closer look at him in Korea, hopefully.
He's just scoring some mad goals as well. Every goal seems such high quality. He's dribbling past 10 players and scoring, banging in from 30
It's not
yards.
even the goals, though. It's just his general play, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just his general play.
You even see some of the goals that Jugan scored, and he's just right in the centre of it, even if he's not getting an assist for it. He's out doing back heels. He's having fun out there, it looks like.
It really is. So the future just looks so bright at Spurs when you look at Mikey Moore, Lucas Bergau, Vuskovic, who's absolutely smashing it in his league as well.
We won the under-21.
We won the under-21s. Tyrese Hall, the emergence of him this season.
Looks so good, yeah.
He looks like a big talent. Jamie Donnelly, Will Lancashire, Judson Sotbell. I mean, there's so many of them. The what?
Lily White Massey.
That's what it is right now. That's what it is. So yeah, the future is very bright at Spurs. It's just a question of how do you kind of progress all these players?
That's the question. Well, a lot of it is about how do you get them game time in the first team without compromising your ambitions as a club to battle for big things, because at one point you have all these really talented young players that you want to give a pathway to, but the other point is if you get them all game time, in the short term you're going to suffer for it, and you're not going to be challenging for the big things, and will the fans have patience for that? And that's a difficult balance you got to take.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we started playing a lot of the youth players and we're losing some games, and all of a sudden we're not in a title chase or top 4 battles because we're giving youth players a chance because we want to give them a long-term future, what will fans say about that? And a lot of fans will get on the club's back, not spending any money, no ambition, all that kind of stuff. But if we were to do that and go through a bit of short-term pain for some long-term gain, all of a sudden you could have a core of players who are completely loyal to the club because we've brought them through, and they could also be a bit of a golden generation, and they could spark, in the long term, something amazing, something really special. So it's about what way you want to go about it.
Yeah, I do feel like, the loan system hasn't really worked for us that well over the past couple of years, but it's just a question of it can work. We know it can work. You just need to do it better. And you need to make sure that they're going to the right clubs and they're going to have the right role in the teams at the right clubs. So I do feel like the loan system needs to be used massively this summer with a lot of these players. But I would like to see some of them stick, maybe like the ones which they have the highest expectations for, keep them around and use them sparingly in the league and the cups and the Europa League, and have them training day in, day out with the first team.
Yeah.
So that's what... And we didn't even mention players like Josh Keeley and Luca Gunter. These 2 goalkeepers that we have, I mean, Josh Keeley had an amazing loan spell at Barnet. Luca Gunter came out of nowhere this season, promoted from the under-18s into the under-21 team. And I don't know if you've seen him over the past 3 or 4 games, but he is like keeping Spurs in games at times with his goalkeeping ability. He looks like a real good keeper. Yeah. So maybe it's a question of that we don't even need to buy a replacement for Fraser Forster.
Maybe not. I mean, you've seen the young keepers, not in the recent future, come in quite young and do really well. So, even Donnarumma was starting at 17. So, you never know.
Well, there you have it. That is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comments section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories we brought to you today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, Spurs.